I would imagine that those previous careers in some ways inform your work now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that you draw upon it. And so I guess one question to ask you to each comment on is maybe what your unique slant is. We've got 3 people here, and yet you're not identical. And you all went through the same training, but you're not identical. And you probably don't pick up all the time on the exact same elements. So why don't you each speak a little bit? And Joe, you can kick things off. You've been quiet for a while.
Well, my early background was a training in theater. And then as I became aware of the vicissitudes of being a professional actor, I became an Alexander Technique teacher. And as an Alexander Technique teacher, there's a lot of attention to how the body responds to stimulus, and particularly the idea of fight or flight response and how that can distort a lot of the natural corrective instincts that we have. So when I began to do mental health work, first as a psychiatric social worker and then as an analyst, I feel that I'm particularly attuned to how people's bodies are speaking in the room. And that might be something that I hold very privately, or it might be something that I comment on. But I think that the body is talking in the middle of the analysis as well. I also find that because of the imaginative work of having been an actor, that there's a way in which I like to enter into the imaginal world with my clients and in some ways co-experience what's happening both in the room and even in the dream life. So as an extrovert, that's particularly easy for me to do, but it's different than I think my own analyst was when I was being analyzed.
Yeah, Deb and Lisa, I was talking to, Joseph was the first one in the room here, and immediately I said, were you an actor? Because his voice is so perfect. So it was no surprise to learn that. Lisa, you want to pick up the thread and talk about how your early work experience informs your work now?
Sure. I'm not so aware that my earlier work experience informs my work, but I can tell you that I think my upbringing did very much. My mother was very interested in Jung, actually, and she would sort of sit and read the collected works when me and my sister were at school. In fact, a lot of my copies of the collected works were her copies with her notes in the margin, which is kind of neat. And she really valued, myth, and she valued dreams. And, I remember talking to her about my dreams, and she communicated to me the value of the inner life. So I think I kind of came into adulthood with that. And I will say that, yes, absolutely. I'm very grateful for it, actually. Yeah. And I will say that when I started, contemplating my career change, I listened to my dreams. I was writing my dreams down, and I didn't know what to do with them exactly, but I did know they were important. And, I think somewhat like Joe, I work from an intuitive place. I think that's just sort of my strength. So when I'm listening to a client's dream material, I'm often in a kind of intuitive reverie, and I'll sort of see what the psyche wants to bring up and sort of share that. And it's a real collaborative process. But I absolutely believe in the importance of dream work and bringing that sort of unknown information into the room, something that the conscious mind isn't aware of. Yeah. And I know for sure that it can unstick people from stuck places, and it can move the growth process along more quickly. It can kind of quicken the pace of transformation.
Yeah, wonderful. I forgot to mention that I've kept a dream journal too, off and on for 30 years or more. So, yeah, Deb.
Well, I would say that my previous careers influenced me in the sense that they were all highly relational careers of connecting with people. And I learned, especially as a special ed teacher, that often the learning difficulties that were supposed to be the agenda were really not the main focus. And that if there was a relationship and a depth of understanding, that was really the groundwork from which a reading problem or a thinking and organization problem really needed to emerge. For me, working with dreams is the introduction to the inner other that we all have. And we don't know that we have this connection to more of us and perhaps not us. But dreams provide an easily accessed nightly channel or portal through which we can make a connection that makes a huge difference to us. And for me, as a feeling type, extroverted feeling kind of person, I tend to go for what the affect in the dream images elicits in me and in the person who is in the room that I'm working with. And I think feeling is some of the place that we really need to get ourselves reacquainted with and reconnected with. I know for myself in therapy that one of the big surprises I had working with a Jungian, we were working with dreams, was the day when all of a sudden it really clicked of, oh my goodness, this is my dream. Something really happened in me in a felt way that gave me the sense of what Jung talks about, of an inner companion.